Hello everyone, welcome to this special edition of Tip of the Month. Promine is glad to announce its compatibility with BricsCAD. BricsCAD is a software application for computer-aided design developed by Bricsys. And in this session, we're going to see how the plugin works. So essentially, you have all the tabs that you are used to, except that they can now be available in BricsCAD. So we're going to look at the surfaces module today in BricsCAD. So in this case here, I have several data points, several survey points that we imported using the survey module from engineering. And in my layers panel here, I sorted all these points into different layers. So for example, here I have 4 stockpiles. So I sorted every surface on a different layer and every pad survey points on a different layer as well. So to view this layers panel here, you simply go to Home and you click on the layers command right here. Now let's go back to modeling and let's use the Triangulate command, which allows you to create a triangulated surface from some selected points. So we're going to click here, and first thing to do is the system will basically ask you to choose an object. So in this case here, if I'm trying to draw a surface for the stockpile, I'm going to choose blocks. So in this case here, you need to make sure that to verify basically what the object type is, and then select it in this list here. Now from the layer, you can either pick a layer from the list, but an easier way to do that is to simply pick layer, select one of the blocks, and it'll simply appear here. Next, you can either use a mesh or 3D faces. A mesh will construct basically one big mesh covering all your data points, whereas 3D faces, it'll allow you to manipulate each surface accordingly. So let's say that in this area here, it's not exactly what you wanted. So using the 3D faces option will allow you to edit only that part, whereas mesh will simply construct a big object around all the data points. Now for the destination layer, in this case here, we're going to put that on stockpile 1 surface. Again, I created these layers before, so that I can be able to choose them from the list here. Select objects on screen if you have that, if you would rather do that instead, but we already selected our data points here using the layer option. Select the limit zone so you can construct a 2D polyline around where you want your stockpile to be limited, and then select this here to limit your stockpile mesh or 3D faces creation. You can even draw a polyline, but in this case we'll leave that unchecked. And then you select the method of triangulation. So here I'm using the use closest elevation point, which is the standard method. Now I'm going to click OK, and as we can see now, the mesh is created around my data points. So this is the stockpile surface. Now let's do the same thing with our pad, which is our floor right here. So again, click on Triangulate from the Surfaces module, blocks. In this case, I'm going to select this here, so it's going to appear as pad 1 points, and I'm going to place that on my pad 1 surface. I'm going to keep everything else the same and click OK. And as we can see here, we have our pad surface. So we have our stockpile surface and we have our pad surface. So one quick calculation that you can do here is to compute the volume between both surfaces. So what this allows you to do is that it will project the pad to the top and the surface to the bottom, and it'll calculate the volume between these two objects. So here we won't select this option as we do not have a polyline. The surface 1 is the stockpile 1 surface, and surface 2 is pad 1 surface. Hit OK, and this will give you basically your calculation. So here it tells you volume above surface 1 is 0, and volume below surface 1 is this amount. Okay, so BricsCAD is also unitless, so you insert the unit that you desire right here. And this basically tells us now that there's this much left below the first surface here. Now let's have a look at another example where we can create a modelized surface, which is basically a smoother surface rather than using triangulation. So you can use that again from the surfaces module. You use the model command here. So we're going to click on that. In this case, we're going to select blocks, all right, because each one of these are blocks, are not points. And the layer is stockpile 3, so this is our stockpile 3. And our destination layer in this case will be stockpile 3 surface. For object modeling here, we're going to select mesh. And the point spacing, essentially this tells you what's the spacing of each computer generated square. So in this case, you can almost picture this as a pixel. So the lower it is, the finer it is. The higher this value is, the more coarse the model will be. So in this case, we can keep it to 1. You know, it's a default value. Default elevation, we can basically select the highest, one of the higher points to make sure that we cover everything. And the maximum influence distance in this case, from each point, we're telling the system to go 5 units around to consider the other points. And hit OK. And now we're going to select the area in which the model will be created. And here we have it. So this is 1 unit each. So each square here is 1 unit. And in this way here, we created a smoother surface rather than having this mesh here. So this concludes our tip of the month. If you would like to try a BricsCAD trial license, feel free to visit their website. And if you would like a Promine trial license, feel free to email info@promine.com. Thank you for watching.